everyone. It's IntuitiveEdge. I'm back. Wanted to jump in on here. I haven't been doing as many videos, but I want to start doing that again. I've had a lot going on. I know I've said that many times before, but it's true. Been very busy. So I know there's a lot going on in the world and in the news, and I know that I like talking about current events, but I've been doing a deep dive lately on the work of a man by the name of David Friedman. He has this book and technique called the thought exchange, and I recently pulled that book back out. I read it a number of years ago, and I decided to read it again. And I think it's important at this time in our experience, in what we are witnessing in the news. And I touched on this in one of my recent videos, a couple of videos ago. I believe that we can collectively affect positive change when we hold and focus our thoughts and intentions in a positive direction. The thought exchange, it's a novel concept. It's a way of looking at the idea of the law of attraction, but in a way that really brings it home, for me anyway. And the idea is to think of your life as a mirror. Whatever you're experiencing is a collection of your thoughts and what you have been thinking about. The idea is, if you look at yourself in a mirror, you see what's reflected back to you. You wouldn't think about, if you see that you're wearing a pink shirt, you wouldn't try to reach into the mirror to change your shirt into a different shirt. And it's kind of like that is how our lives are, is what we are experiencing is simply being reflected back to us, back to our collective thought. So what are we thinking about? When we see all of the corruption that's being exposed, by the way, but we see all of this and we say, but why is nobody being arrested? Why are the criminals getting away with this? And I've been looking at these things intuitively for a number of years. But I'm wondering if these things are simply more a manifestation of our thought. And if we were to exchange our thought, as in the thought exchange, the premise being that whatever is being mirrored back to you is a result of what you've been thinking. So simply change. You don't have to change it. You just exchange it. Exchange the thought out of all the possible thoughts out there in the universe to something that reflects back to you what you want to see in your life. What is it that you want? If your life, I'm going to jump around a little bit, so you're going to have to bear with me on this. But if your life is a jumbled up mess, what thoughts are you thinking that is contributing to that or leading to that in your experience? Another deep dive, just a segue here, another deep dive I've been doing is the work of Abraham Hicks. Now, I used to be, years ago, I was very skeptical of any kind of channeling. And so for a while I didn't want anything to do with channeling. I just was very skeptical because I wanted to know, okay, who's on the other end of that channel? And so I just kind of dismissed a bunch of channeling. And had I known now, because I just really introduced myself to the Abraham Hicks material, had I known then what I know now, maybe I would have entertained this material a little sooner, because I think it's incredible. Incredible, the Abraham Hicks material is. So I am wondering if the current state of the world, where everybody is wanting justice and the criminals are getting away with murder and getting away with theft and getting away with rigging things, couching my words here, and nobody's being held accountable, nobody's coming to justice, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. But I'm wondering, okay, we could talk about the problems all day long, and we could talk about the frustration that everybody is feeling about the issues of the day, about current events, and about holding things accountable, holding people accountable. Or we could simply come into a vibration that matches up with these people being held accountable, or basically living in a world where corruption is held to account. Because we can't change other people, right? We can't change other people, but we can change the world we want to live in by changing our thoughts about it. I've often said about myself, I didn't come into this world to be a slave, to be a victim. I came in this world to be in an experience, in an incarnation, to live as a woman empowered. But I'm really coming to understand or learn in a deeper way just how much our thoughts are behind everything we experience. And a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that. They want to continue to blame other people, to play the victim, to feel as though they have no control over what happens to them, when everything comes from a thought and a vibration as we think on something. There was a quote as I was listening to an Abraham Hicks excerpt in a video recently. There was a quote that was so profound I had to stop the video and literally think about it for a few days. And that quote was something to the effect of, see if I can remember it exactly. It said, "You get what you think about, whether you want it or not." And that really, really hit home for me. We get what we think about, whether we want it or not. I think this is why so many of the great teachings in the Bible and elsewhere in some of the great spiritual works have talked about guarding our thoughts, because thoughts are the point of creation. Thoughts become words and actions. So, for instance, in the creation story in the Bible, when God said, "Let there be light," the word didn't come first, the thought did. The thought held in mind produced the idea that came through as a word that spoke creation into being. And as beings made in the image and likeness of God, we too create with our thoughts and our words. And everything we experience whether we want it or not, comes from our thoughts. But the nice thing is we can choose which thoughts we want to hold on to, whether we want to exchange thoughts of lack and limitation, poverty, sickness, and exchange those for thoughts of wellness, health, prosperity, and wholeness. And it's not just about changing your mind. It's about exchanging, getting down to the core thought. Sometimes we don't realize what thought we're thinking because it's on such an unconscious level. We don't realize that we are creating based on a thought that we're holding in our vibration. And not all thoughts that we hold are in alignment with who we truly are. So the idea is to come into alignment with your own essence, the own vibratory essence, so that you can create the life that you were meant to live, and you can be all that you came here to be. It's a powerful tool that we have at our disposal to think into being what we want to see manifested in our experience. So I didn't want to turn this into a lecture, but I wanted to tell you kind of my thought process along with what's been happening in our world, that it seems to me that it is an outpicturing of a thought held in mind that nobody's ever going to get brought to justice. Justice never happens. The elite get away with everything. Things are rigged. Things are stolen. Things are, this is what's happening and this is blah, blah, blah. And we create beliefs, because thoughts held in mind create beliefs, and beliefs turn into manifestation. We are simply caught in a loop of our own creation. There, I said it. What we are seeing in the political realm is simply thoughts held in mind, producing what we are thinking about. What if we changed it, exchanged it, I should say? What if we exchanged our thoughts? Instead of holding these people always get away with everything, that we say, I live in a world where corruption isn't a thing because people are honest. The people I meet are honest. I live in a world where honesty is important to people. Or whatever you want to say about it. Knowing that we can't change others, but we can come from a place of, this is what I want in my experience. I want to live in a world where greedy, corrupt people don't choose, don't, how do I want to say that? I got to work with this a little more. What are your thoughts on how to hold a vibration in your own life that you get to be around people in your experience who are honest? And maybe it's just my circle of influence. People that I know. In my experience, I get to be, in this lifetime, I get to be around people who are honest. Maybe, and I know it's hard for big picture people. I'm a big picture person. I like to see, the world brought into alignment with the right and perfect energies. But what if it's more about the here and now for me and my life and what I'm experiencing, as it is for all of us. We can only really be energetically in alignment with what is happening in our immediate field. And that ripples out into the whole. So if each of us, in my own experience, I get to be around honest people. Well, if we all did that in our own collective world, in our own little circle of influence, in our own peers, in our friend groups, suddenly we're out picturing being around honest people. That eventually will have to spill out into the political, into other realms, and influence beyond our own circle of influence. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts, and I'd love to hear your thoughts too about how we can be conscious creators and create a world that we want to live in, where good things happen, honesty prevails, and a sense of justice is natural because it's an outpicturing of our collective thought. Because right now, what we are seeing mirrored back to us all is saying that there's no justice in the world, that corrupt people run things, that they're dishonest. And that's what we're getting. We're seeing it because that's what we're thinking. So I would like to encourage people to exchange those thoughts and make it about you in your own life. Take a look at David Friedman, Friedman, and the Thought Exchange. It's really interesting. He has a book out. I don't know where you can order it. I might see if I can find a link for it. And also the Abraham Hicks material is really profound, and I've been getting a lot of good information from it, and it's really challenging me and causing me to think about what I think about, knowing that thoughts are where creation starts. It starts up here in the mind. When we put feeling to it, they solidify into beliefs. Beliefs turn into manifestation. So I hope each of you are doing well. Thanks for listening to this, and we'll catch you next time. This has been Intuitive Edge. Bye for now.